Moving on to topic two, I want to talk a little Pokemon with you guys and kind of gush about my feelings on Pokemon Sword. So, Pokemon Sword came out a year, maybe two ago, and we're just getting to it. Kate and I have been playing quite a bit. It's been fun, kind of just chilling and playing together, either just multiplayer literally or playing on the same couch and just kind of hanging out and talking it over. But it's been a blast playing Pokemon Sword. Nice nostalgia trip. I know I've kept talking about like, oh, I want to play, but then it's the do you really want to sink all that time into it kind of thing, like an RPG. But I think Pokemon Sword had a nice balance of the old and the new, and it was interesting seeing how things adapted or changed over the years. So yeah, as of recording it right now, I think I have 70 to 80 hours into Pokemon Sword. I've beaten the main story, so the Elite Four, quote unquote, and the champion. I still do have the post-game stuff, which I've started, but I've kind of been just doing my own thing. The Pokemans, indeed. So yeah, a lot of changes in this one. First things first that I really enjoyed, I think I've talked about it before, similar to Let's Go, they have the Pokemon walking around. Like, you can literally see them in the wild, and you can just run up to it, and that's engaging the battle, instead of the always mysterious just run in the grass and hope to God that you get something. I did enjoy that. It was just cool to see it's a more obviously living world. To have these Pokemon walking around, interacting with things and whatnot. So that was really cool. Nice little mechanic. The big open wild areas. I think there was only 2 of them, but those are cool. So it goes through like different environments and whatnot. And you can see different species walking around and, like I said, once again, interacting. But it's just a big open area, similar to the Savari zones in a way of the earlier games, just without the time limit. And you get a wide variety of different leveled Pokemon in there. So you could literally start your adventure, but run into a level 30, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. So it's cool how they kind of play with scale too, where the higher leveled Pokemon are usually bigger ones that you see walking around, evolved forms. So that was nice. Like I said, just seeing that living environment. Going off of old games, like I said, there was a lot of quality of life changes, and I don't know if this has changed in other games prior. My experience, mainly first game I played was Sword and Shield, so Silver and Gold, excuse me, Gen 2. Played a little bit of Gen 1, but that was kind of like a backtrack, and played that here and there. Gen 3 I put a lot of time in, didn't play 4. What was 5? 5 was Black and White. Played a little bit of that. Dove into X and Y when that came out. And then Sun and Moon I like barely touched. So I obviously played a lot of this one. There was a lot of quality of life changes from Gen 2 and 3, which I put the most time into prior. Couple things, obviously, with there being like 800 different Pokemon, leveling them all up and evolving them, that's going to take ages if you do it the old way, where only the people who participate get XP, or you have the XP share, obviously. By default, everybody gets XP in this game, whether you catch a Pokemon, which I know they added in Let's Go, or whether you fight. So it's nice to have that kind of, like I said, quality of life factor of just like you're able to evolve and level these Pokemon up faster, quicker. So I do enjoy that. Another quality of life thing, I know they've messed around with this for a while, the TMs and HMs. So if you don't know, TMs and HMs in the original games were like special moves that you could teach your Pokemon. They're usually like the more powerful ones. HMs in the originals were like your key moves: Fly, Surf, Flash, Strength, Rock Smash. These were moves that were like tied into the map, so you had to have certain Pokemon know them so you could kind of progress through the map and these certain puzzles. Anybody could learn them. Well, not anybody. You could use that item as much as you want to teach those Pokemon. TMs were, once again, these more powerful moves, but you could only use it once. You could use it once, and then the item broke or whatever the lore was. Over the years, they've kind of changed it. They made it so the TMs were also the same, where you could use them as much as you want. I think in this game they've added it back, so some of them were limited. You can only use it one and done. Those are called TRs, I think now. And then as for the HMs, these like special moves that dealt with the map, like they completely got rid of them in this game. Like they can still be used as moves. You can still learn strength. You can still learn rock smash and whatever. But early on in this game, you get the ability to fly through like a taxi system. So obviously anywhere you have already traveled, you get that fast travel ability. And then surf is done through your bike. Eventually you get a bike upgrade and you can go through the water. So that was interesting at first. I kept making the joke with Kate throughout the time we were playing it. It was like, oh, this is baby mode, just as a joke, not like trying to instigate or have it be a negative thought, but it was just like, wow, by comparison, like this is much easier than we had it. But then again, quality of life things. You have 800 of these things that if you really wanted to collect them all, that's going to take ages, like your whole freaking life to get all this done. So like, I think it was smart to make these changes with the leveling and with the traversal. Like, just once again, quality of life. I'm going to keep saying this 800 times, so I'm sorry. So there was that. Let's see, what else did they change? Something that they had in X and Y, which was on the 3DS, that I really enjoyed. So obviously trading was always a big thing for Pokemon. Either a certain Pokemon would only evolve during trading, or obviously you want to play with your friends. I know Charlie and I attempted to do it numerous times, especially for like the trade you guys to evolve them. They have the online component, so you can trade with people, set up a room if you want to, and then trade from there. But then they also, in X and Y, they had something called Wonder Trading. So the Wonder Trading makes its return in this one. It's essentially a gamble or a roulette, but you just choose one of your Pokemon. So, etc. I'll use Meowth because it's in chat. I don't want this Meowth. Boop, I'm going to put it in the machine. It goes out to the internet, and it just, whoever it links up with at that point, who also launched one into the sky, it will trade with them. And you don't know what you're going to get until you see it. So it could be something good, could be just a random squirrel that you see early on in the game, random Squovit, and it's just like, oh, come on. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun just playing that, like I said, that gambling game. There's people that I assume are hacking this game. I've gotten legendaries that are level 100 and shiny. I'm like, why? And then, like I said, there's been a bunch of times that I've gotten the Ratatats or the Squovits or just the generic, like you ran into this early on and you're just throwing it out there. But yeah, it's been fun running into something new or getting old starters or whatever. It's just a fun mechanic of like, hey, you don't want this? All right, you don't have to just release it and get nothing for it. You could throw it out there and have some fun with that. Unfortunately, an X and Y that didn't carry over, which I really enjoyed, was if you were looking for a very specific Pokemon. So let's say like I'm looking for a Squirtle. I could search it and I can look at everyone who's offering a Squirtle, who has a Squirtle. And if I meet their requirements, they ask for something too. So let's just keep it simple. I want a Charmander level 5. Okay, or just a Charmander, etc. If I have a Charmander, I can just trade with that person. But they don't have to be online at that time. It's like you put it up there and you leave it. You can play the game as is. You can obviously go away, do something else. If you got to go to work, you got to go to school, etc., whatever. It just stays there. It's just in the online cloud. So yeah, you just meet the requirements. You link up with them. You complete the trade, and you're good to go. So that was a nice thing. I think they got rid of it because a bunch of people were being very egregious with it. Like, oh, I'll give you this Zubat, but I want a Mewtwo. It's like, that's never going to happen. No one's going to do that. So, yeah, I think that's maybe been why the reason they took it out. But it was fun while it lasted. So, unfortunately, that does not make its return in Sword and Shield. But I'm glad they kept the Wonder Trade and kept that mechanic, part of it, fun. In this one, they added Dynamax battles. So, they got rid of Mega Evolutions. But essentially, usually it's during your gym battles, you can, if you have a strong enough relationship with your Pokemon, or a friendly enough one, you can Dynamax them. So they become like this giant skyscraper of a Pokemon and unleash these powerful moves for like 3 turns before they revert. That was a kind of fun mechanic. I think the more interesting part of it is the multiplayer aspect of it. In the wild areas, like I was talking before, it's a big open area. They add these things called dens, which, if a beam of light is popping out, means there's a kind of like a boss battle Pokemon in there. And you can either play it by yourself with CPUs, or you can play it with friends. So it kind of allows you and friends to battle against this Pokemon and kind of strategize and have some fun with that. So that's been a blast. Kate and I have done a lot of those together. And sometimes, like, they have unique Pokemon that you just don't see all the time. So you do have the opportunity to catch it. It'll go back down to its normal size. But it's just a fun, another way to play it, which has been a blast. Another thing that this game adds is DLC. It has a season pass. Got to get it separately. But the DLC that they've added has been a lot of fun. I haven't played too much of the latest one, which is I think it's Frozen Tundra is what it's called. But that provides a new challenge. It has its own story, similar to the first one. But all the Pokemon in that area are level 60 to 70. In Crown Tundra, which was the first DLC, it level scales to wherever you're at in the story. So personally, I bounced back and forth in between Crown Tundra and the main campaign. So each campaign added each DLC also added more Pokemon. They didn't have all of them at launch, which a lot of people were upset about. So it adds new Pokemon and obviously adds that story. So it was fun kind of bouncing back and forth, progressing each story, but also catching the newer Pokemon over there. Whether they're older ones or just discovering a new area. It was fun catching those as well and evolving them and having them on your team. Another quality of life thing, I talked about the flying and the surfing. For those of you guys who have played Pokemon and you want to switch your team, you always got to go to the Pokemon Center, go to the computer. You can still do that, but now you have the computer pretty much like a smartphone just in your pocket, and you can swap wherever you want. So that's just a time saver. Obviously, if you're like me at this point, just trying to fill your Pokedex or level up people, like swapping out your teams, who's in it, who's not, so you can level up everybody and get them evolved. Like, it's just so much easier than running to the town. Okay, switch it, run back. Obviously, not that big of a deal, but just a nice thing to have. I think the story overall in Sword and Shield was really good. It went fast. It might be just because, once again, the leveling system of how everybody gets XP for every battle. It makes that easy. So, yeah, there's that. I thought the story went quick. Like I said, I am done with all the gym battles. I think Kate has... she either has one more or she's on the last guy ready to go to the league. I don't remember. But that's been fun. It's been also interesting talking back and forth, being like, okay, what type is weak to this? What is it? That's a big thing, too, that I think also I don't know if they added, but is definitely an important aspect in this game is type advantage. Levels do come into play, but I don't feel like it's as big of a thing as in like previous gens, where if you're 5 levels over somebody, you deal your damage and most of the time you'd be able to get out of the way or make it work. This one, even if you have that bigger level advantage, if you don't have the types lined up, it's going to be a struggle. And it's going to be more difficult. So it was interesting kind of teaming up and talking about it here and there of like, okay, it was this one. You want this guy. You don't want this guy, et cetera, et cetera. So it was just fun. Trying to think if there's anything else that really stuck out about this game. Like I said, the story was great. It was good. It was a lot of fun. Heart Effects asked earlier if it was my new favorite gen Pokemon. Favorite new gen Pokemon. From the series, like who's my favorite? Oh, okay, out of this Pokedex. I get you. Well, man, while I'm thinking about that, I think this game is definitely up there for Pokemon games for me. I don't know if anyone can ever beat Silver and Gold just because that's like the first experience with it. I don't know. Gen 3 was really special to me too. That was a lot of fun. Ruby and Sapphire. Man, I don't know. It's tough. I don't know if it's a second place and it kicks Gen 3 out of the way or if it's third. But it was a blast. As for new Pokemon that I really like, if we're talking DLC, Kubfu is hilarious. His little story. I know he's legendary in a way, so that's might be a cheapskate answer. But Kubfu's hilarious. I really liked Wooloo's adorable. Grookey is great. Oh yeah, that's the first thing. This is my first grass starter. I tried Rowlet and Sun and Moon, but like I said, I only really grazed the surface there with that game. Grookey's been a blast. Corviknight's pretty cool looking. Man, I hate how you can forget like all these things when somebody asks you, like just that pressure moment, I guess you could say. Man, why am I blanking so hard? I got honestly thinking back to my team. I don't know if I really used anybody new. Like obviously I used Rillaboom, aka Grookey's evolved form. I did use Corviknight. The rest of my team when I went up to League was... So I had Rillaboom, Corviknight. I had Alakazam. I had Machamp. I had Arcanine. Did I say Dragonite? Rillaboom, Corviknight. Arcanine. Alakazam, Machamp. Dragonite. Dragonite is the last one. Under pressure. Exactly. So that was my ensemble. Yeah, I guess we'll stick with Grookey and Rillaboom. I mean, Thwacky's great too, so I guess that would be my favorite of the next gen. I just can't think of anybody really that stood out to me newer. Like I said, as you can tell by my team, I only had the two. Which, I mean, from personally speaking, makes sense. Your starter on your last team. And then I always had the bird, whoever it was, whether it's Pidgeot, whether it was... who was in Gen 3 that I used? Oh, Swellow, I think was the name. I used them. X and Y, I'm blanking on who the bird was in that one, but I used them as well on the team. Was it Talonflame with Fletchling? I used them. Yeah, so they kind of fit into those spots for what I personally have. Dragonite was a new one. I usually don't have him on the team. I will usually have... We'll usually have Alakazam or Kadabra because I didn't have the trading capability. Machamp was a new one this time. Usually I have Graveler or Golem, but I don't know if Geodude's in this game, unfortunately. I have not seen one, whether it was base game or DLC, so kind of sad about that. And that's the thing, too. I thought by the time the second DLC came out, we'd have all the Pokemon. I don't think we do at this point. I don't know if they plan on releasing more DLC. It's up in the air there. So let's see. I think those are my usual go-tos. I don't think I had anybody else. Staraptor's the best bird. He was a cool one. Starly. Was that Gen 4? I know you were asking about Gen 4 remakes earlier. I didn't play a lot of Diamond and Pearl. I think I might have borrowed a friend's once and played it. I know a lot of people have a lot of love for Gen 4. I mean... It would make sense. They've remade Kanto, Yellow Boost Red. They've remade Silver and Gold with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. They've remade Ruby and Sapphire with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So, I mean, it makes sense. I'd be fine with it. I wouldn't, like, it wouldn't cause me to play it, but I'd be happy, obviously, for all those people who do want it. So, if it's a thing, cool. I mean, why not? It's 25th anniversary of Pokemans, right? I think it's 25? Yeah. So, I mean, they're doing some things already. They got Pokemon Snap coming out in a couple months. That remake and new game. So, that'd be cool. Let's see a Pokemon Stadium remake. Or remaster. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's my basic thoughts on Sword and Shield. Like I said, I know we were late to the party, but I just wanted to kind of gush over it and share my thoughts about it, how I thought it was a great game and all those things that they did change while it was different and I wasn't used to it or like expecting it with the old games. Like, oh, things used to be this way, like that. It was interesting having that like semi-nostalgia trip of like, oh yeah, it used to be this way, but now it's this way and it works and blah, blah, blah. Like, it was a fun game. Fun time overall. Like I said, I still have the post-game story to explore of getting that game's legendary and dealing with those villains at that point. And then I haven't really done the Crown Tundra DLC all that much. I think, or not Crown Tundra. Crown Tundra's done with Kung Fu. I think we're wrapped up with that. There's one other thing I need to do, but I think that's post-game story that I need to beat first, then to do that. But Frozen Tundra is the one I have not really explored. So interested to keep playing and seeing more of that. So even after the 70 to 80 hours, it's like, nah, I still want to keep playing this game. So I'm glad it's like that. It's not like, okay, cool, let's just put that over there and be done with it. It was a good experience overall. And if you do enjoy Pokemon, if you do have a Switch, if it's on sale, I mean, I would definitely recommend it, especially for those times where, like, if you have time to just zone out. I mean, I've talked about it before, like, that was a thing I always did. Just put something on TV as noise and then just relax on the couch and play some Pokemon. Space out a little bit. So, yeah, if you're a Pokemon fan and you haven't played it, I recommend it. So...